How about this for an event? Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, with Jimmy Hart and Eric Bischoff. Same place, same time, special event for fans. So professional wrestling legends Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair present Legends of the Ring, with MC Jimmy, Mouth of the South Hart, and host Eric Bischoff at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood and South Florida. Saturday, June 9th at 9 p.m. Meet and greet packages with both Hogan and Flair are available. And hey, I mean, you get to hear stories and also participate in a Q&A with these four legends of the ring. Hulk, thank you so much. You did one of these special, unique events in Tampa in February. Have y'all done any others? Are there more cities planned?
Well, brother, I'm just glad Bischoff was there. You talked about him being the host this time. He might need to be the special referee because I tell you, Flair started telling those out-of-school stories and pulling the curtain back and some of the after-party stuff. And he almost got the big boot and the leg drop last time. But no, this is the big one. This is the big one. This is the test rocket. We did one in Tampa. We had a great time at the Hard Rock in Tampa. But this one in Hollywood, we're blowing the doors out there, man. We're gonna get sit down with the fans, and we got a specific time. We're gonna do the Q&A. But if the fans are really, really into it, we're just gonna keep on rolling, brother. We got Eric Bischoff there to keep it calm on stage. We got Jimmy Hart out in the crowd, working the crowd, getting all the Hulkamaniacs and all the Ric Flair's fans to get the questions. But if this one blows to the roof, we've got Hard Rocks in Munich, Germany. We got the Hard Rock in Vegas. We got Hard Rocks all over the place. I would love to have me and Flair there, doing the Watusi, man, in front of all the fans. So this is a big one for us. We're really excited about coming to Hollywood.
It's going to be a great time, and fans down here, and I'm sure they're going to be traveling in too. It's going to be a huge night. Hulk, whose idea was it to do this great event?
Well, I've been working with my sports agent, Darren Prince, for many, many years now. He represents Magic Johnson and Rodman and Frazier when Frazier was alive, and George Foreman. He represents Mike Tyson, just a bunch of great athletes, Larry Bird, all kind of different people. And he, and a lot of celebrities too, like Gene Hackman and a whole bunch of different celebrities out there. And, I started doing some of this stuff by myself, some question and answer stuff, that kind of went along with the autograph signing and the photo ops. And then I started doing a Hogan's and Friends deal with me and a bunch of other wrestlers. And then I got a million requests. What about you and Flair? What about you and Flair? And then Rick and I, we got to become really close friends the last, I'd say, 8 or 9 years. The first 10 years weren't that great. That's why we get so many stories. But the last 8 or 9 years, we got to be really close friends. Rick always did his own thing, and I always did my own thing. And I just was down here in Tampa with Rick, and I said, hey, man, did you ever think about maybe doing something with me and you and I getting together? Because we got so many fans, between the Flair fans and the Hogan fans, that pretty much covers professional wrestling. And Rick goes, oh, man, I'd love to do it. I didn't think you wanted to do it. I went, man, I didn't think you would want to do it. And we were both so excited about it that this is a big deal for us, We don't get to climb in the ring together anymore, but this is another way we can get that energy out and meet with the fans and pay our respects and thank everybody for being on the team and being so loyal for so long. So it was like my idea first.
I'll say this too, when you think about the greats, you've got to put both of you on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. Andre's probably in there, and then you can pick whoever else you want out of Bruno, Dusty. I mean, there's so many as for the fourth. But to have you two together, this is going to be an incredible night. What do you say about, you talked about Flair a little bit, like the first 10 years or so was a little rocky there. But what can you say about Ric Flair and what he means to you and to the sport?
Well, I got to go back to Mount Rushmore first. If you got me and Flair and Andre, you got to have Dusty Rhodes up there, brother. I mean, come on. You got to have Dusty.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm a huge Dusty fan, especially from Florida. I mean, that's just awesome.
You had me thinking about Mount Rushmore. What was your other question?
No, then I was going to ask just about Flair, because you mentioned a little bit rocky between you and Flair in the earlier days, but really, what has he meant to you and what has he meant to the sport?
Well, he's a mainstay. I call Ric Flair the greatest wrestler of all time because, we were going separate directions for the first, oh my first 15 years of our career. I was the New York guy, Madison Square Garden, the Boston Gardens, the Philadelphia Spectrum. I pretty much did the whole Northeast and all the West Coast, and even when I went to Japan, I worked for a different company for 20 years over there. I worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Flair worked for All Japan. I worked for Inoki's group, Flair worked for Baba's group. But here in the United States, we were never together. He worked the Southern Swing from Atlanta, Channel 17, the Crocker promotion, up to Charlotte, and he really never came up north. And I never really did the Southern Swing. And, for the first 15 years, there was all this animosity of who's the greatest wrestler, who's the better wrestler. And between the fans and the wrestlers, they stirred up this huge feud between me and Flair, which it turned into fighting words, basically. And Rick and I weren't really involved in it. But between the wrestling fans and all the wrestlers, there was all this crap stirred up, and Rick and I had never even been in the same room together. So when we first met, there was a lot of tension, and he had his little clique he was hanging around with Arn Anderson and a bunch of guys when he first came to the WWF, and I kind of stayed to myself. And then when Vince McMahon booked Flair and I together, the mutual professional respect, we just clicked in the ring. I mean, the moment we got in the ring, sometimes it's hard to get a reaction from the crowd, but in our world, if you're in the ring with somebody that's really popular like The Rock or Andre, when you get in the ring, it's already there. I mean, when Flair and I got in the ring, it was already there. It was like magic. So, we hit it off so good on a professional level. Once we got out of the ring, then we finally started talking. We had so much in common. The last 8 or 9 years, maybe the last 10 years, we became best friends. I helped him with his son and some of the problems he had, and we've been down a lot of roads together, and he's just a really good friend. But to the sport, he's the mainstay. The iconic torch from Gorgeous George wasn't passed to Ric Flair. Ric Flair took it and ran with it. He made wrestling, during his time before it became a global phenomenon. He made wrestling popular. He made wrestling something that wasn't just, let's go to the wrestling at the circus or down to the farm center. Ric Flair took it and made it larger than life. So Ric Flair is so responsible for pushing us into this entertainment genre, So he's like the mainstay. He's like the original godfather of this new era of wrestling.
And this is some of the information, some of the stories that you're going to be hearing and more when the legends get together.